Dropped in the pet?
Yeah, a little bit. Trying to figure out what to do with it. Looking at it like, I don't know what to do with it. Thank you. All right. Our opening song is Woke Up This Morning with My Mind Stayed on Spirit. And it repeats 3 times. In the first one, I woke up with my mind stayed on spirit. The second time, I woke up with my mind stayed on freedom. And the third time is go back to spirit. And we're just going to sing it.
And one time through for the intro.
And one time through for the intro so you can get the beat. Welcome, have a seat. All right, first, welcome, and thank you for coming out in the snow. It's not sticking yet, but it was coming down pretty good earlier when we were coming in, and it will again tonight. So after service, going home and making something warm to eat and staying home. And I'm sure all of you will do something similar. Maybe you'll go out and play in it. You know, those days for me are gone. Hi, Susan, come on in. And I wanted to take a moment to start this service by saying thank you. You know, during this whole month of having sabbatical for February, which they told me I needed and they were right, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but they've carried this. They've kept it together. They've met once a week. They've made decisions. They've made all the things that had to happen. They found this location, all of these things. So you're bored. If you're on the board, stand up. Did you say we're bored? You're not bored yet. I haven't started getting my talk. And that's when you fall asleep. Yes, so they've already started clapping, but let's clap for them. So they have done yeoman's work, and I really appreciate that. And they've really done a lot to say, Carolyn, take what you need, do what you need to do, and we'll be here. And so I've been very, 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 very appreciative of that, and I'm taking full advantage of it and continue to do so now. So I'm quite willing to let them do whatever they want to do. So because that gives me a chance to really work on my job, which is to develop myself spiritually, my understanding, my acceptance, and my expression, and to share it with you. That's my job. Okay, so here we are, and I wanted to keep it simple today, and I thought a snowman was absolutely appropriate. So I don't know how many of us will be building snowmen. As I said, I'm not an outside snow person, but I like to watch it. So we're going to open with a prayer. So I invite you to relax, to get settled, and to go where you need to go as I take you where I need to take you. On this snow-filled morning, with those beautiful white flakes falling to the ground, we know that each flake is unique. Each has its own characteristics. Each is beautiful. And as we know this, we breathe in the fact that the mind, the power that created all those snowflakes, created us. And we are one with it. So His Spirit is wholeness, prosperity, joy, clarity. So are we. We breathe into that. And we ask ourselves this morning, what is it that I have come here for? Do I want to be in community? Do I want to learn something, feel something, receive confirmation that this is good? Or direction that will take me a different way in my life? Whatever it is, I know with my words that you are going to and have already received it. And so with deepest gratitude to the one that is, knowing that as I speak my words, the law says, yes, I let it be. I call it good and very good. And together we seal the words with the words. And so it is. All right. Okay.
Okay, we have a couple of announcements, but the first one I have is some of you have been very helpful in giving me advice about raising puppies. And so some of you do know that Margot and I picked up a couple of puppies 4 weeks ago today, in fact, up in somewhere in northern Ohio. Brought them back, and our lives will never be the same. But it's all good. It's all good. I never laughed so much in my life. They're just wonderful.
What's their names?
See, one of them is called Pocket. That's named after her granddad, and then another one is named Jack, as in Jack the Bear. She's like a little bear, a black Jack. I think that is. They're absolutely hilarious. So that's my first announcement. Second announcement is starting with the joke of the day. You all remember the joke of the day, right? Yeah, okay. What's Irish and comes out in the spring?
Patio furniture.
She
got it.
Patio furniture. That's good.
I'm sorry.
Are you really that clever? That's pretty good. That's impressive. Yes.
Can you come to the front so
Yes, I
the
can.
world can see you?
We can see them in the mirrors.
Yeah, you can throw things at me, yeah.
There.
All right, we have two classes that we have announcements about. One is Roots of Science of Mind. Begins this Tuesday in the evening via Zoom teleconferencing, 6:30 to 9. Yes. 10-week class, and Vicki is the instructor here. The cost is $100 plus materials. Accreditation requires an additional $50 CSL fee. Okay, so that's Roots of Science of Mind. Anything you want to add to that? Okay, I think the communications have probably been in works for a while. Another class, this thing called You. How many of you have already signed up for that one? Oh, well, okay, one. Tammy, do you want to? Okay, Tammy's going to be organizing that and teaching it. Her instructor, so your instructor is going to be Tammy Steppenfield. Carolyn's going to assist her with that. The cost is $60 plus materials. It should be a real winner.
It's a great class. I've done it before. It's an awesome class.
Okay, good, there we go. You've done that one before, and it's an awesome class. It begins March 12th, Tuesday, 6 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. And if you're taking it for accreditation, you know what comes next, an additional $50. Okay, and more than worth it. More than worth it. Anything you want to add to that, Stan?
No, except it's a wonderful book. It's a wonderful class, and it's going to be at my house. Time can be adjusted to fit schedules. You know, we just kind of threw the time out there, so that can always be worked out. All you have to do is let us know.
And do you have the books available?
No, but I can get them for, I've got one. So I've got one right now, and I can get the rest of them from Amazon in 2 days, so.
Okay, what a
we'll
deal,
be
so you don't
fine.
even have to mess with that.
I've got
We
all the
order it
course
for you.
stuff right here.
Do you pay
Carolyn's
for 'em
got
too,
it all
Tammy?
written down.
Do you pay for the books too? checking.
Well, I don't know, the first one I've already paid for, so I might give that away.
Okay.
I would always add one thing to that, is that this is a great class for somebody that's never studied science and life. It's a great class for somebody that just wants an introduction to that. So if you have friends who won't come on Sunday morning, for whatever reason, maybe they have a commitment to another service, or they Sunday mornings, they have baggage around that, send them to this class. And let them come and find out about us and meet a few of us and become friends, and this is a great opportunity to give them the opportunity to be exposed to what we teach without a lot of pressure, you know?
Thank you. Thank you. And, I think I turn to you at this point.
Okay, so. I just want to orient you guys a little bit to our lovely new space. This is so incredibly exciting, you guys. Spirit made this possible. We had looked at this space before, a ways back, and just on a whim, I Googled, I said, community rooms in Jeffersonville, and this came up. And I mean, one thing led to another. The owners of this building, their last name is Lovin, which I just love, because every time we say the word love. So I just want to tell you a little bit about, this is our space every Sunday from 9 in the morning until 1. They're open to the idea if we might need a little more time. As you can see, there's all kinds of things we could do with this space. We haven't talked about that, but she said if we have something we want to do that would go past 1 o'clock, that we can have that conversation. But I want you to know that right now our commitment is that we're here, or we can be here, it's our space, from 9 to 1. And we need to be cleared out at 1 o'clock, because she may book other things. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stay in touch. She's gonna let us know if she has other events. On days, on weeks when she's not gonna have another event, we can even leave it set up, okay? But the space that's ours is this whole area except the bar. And we're gonna have a conversation with her about possibly being able to cool the water in the fridge, possibly whether we can go through that door or not. We're gonna find out what those boundaries are. As you can see, there's lots of rooms around, the stairs go different places, but we don't have access to the upstairs, and the only room right now that we're leasing is the second door over on this back. That's our storage area. And we're gonna be working, we're gonna brand new start, we're gonna be working to keep that organized, and it's gonna hold our stuff, so we're not so much a church in a box. We get to come and go. We're not sharing this space with anybody on Sundays. If you have questions about any of this, let us know. And trying to think if there's anything else at this moment. Gina has a sister named Diana who also does what she does with her, and they're both of our liaisons. And the only thing they ask, because they're making this very affordable for us, they're very excited because they came here for their church asking if they could use this space, and that's how this woman found out this building was available. So when we came and we said, can we do this? She said yes, essentially because she wanted someone to say yes to her. And so the other thing about that is she said, all I want is if you guys would pray for me every week. She said, so seriously, she's asking if we just keep, and we said, everyone can thrive. They can thrive and we can thrive. Because this is like 2 or 3 levels and it's all for events. And so she's looking to really expand this out. And I think that's all for this moment. Can you think of anything else that we need to let them know? Pat?
No, I think that's all. There's parking behind the building and across the street and on the street.
And it's all free. The bathrooms are over here. We have a woman's bathroom and a man's bathroom. They're excellent, very respectful of the space, if you would please. There are signs on the bathroom doors that says, don't flush anything down the toilet that doesn't go down the toilet, please. And I think that is it for right now.
Now, do the chairs stay out like this, or do we have to?
If they don't schedule anything in the week, like they don't have anything scheduled for this week, then the chairs will just stay like this, and Vernon won't have to move them or do anything like that. And if they do have something scheduled for the middle of the week, then they will ask us.
And are those chairs theirs or ours?
They're ours. No, they're
No, they're
theirs.
They're theirs, but
So we would just stack them somewhere, or?
Yeah, Vernon would have.
when we have to move them, there's, yeah, and we'll have a procedure for that.
Yeah. When they came down, they had, this first time, they had other tables here, and chairs around them, and so they moved that back. I love the idea of having a space where we have the chairs and we have tables.
Yeah.
I love that, because we can move gently into the table, sit down, have conversations, and all of that. So I think that's a great place for this location.
And the location too, there's so many restaurants that
Yes.
are open on Sundays after the service, walk across the street, walk down
Yeah.
anywhere. So access to Big Fork Bridge, if you wanna walk there.
So
It's
the
just
restaurants are pretty good? That
Oh,
are there?
yeah.
Some of them are
Yeah,
excellent.
yeah, you'll be surprised, it's
Yeah.
nice down here.
Yeah,
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 Captain's
really,
Work
yeah.
Pet.
It's just
Yeah,
wrong.
they're good places.
Yeah.
Where did we go, Captain's?
You know, so as we're talking and telling people things, you know, maybe even remind people about the walking bridge, because for people that don't wanna drive over, they could park and walk, they don't have to drive over. So yeah.
What I wanted to say about the bar, we don't have any access to the bar, but there's a broom inside the store and there's a utility sink we can use, but we're not supposed to go back beyond that because there's liquor back there and there's a liability
Yes.
with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty important that we honor that boundary. We're gonna figure out the water thing, but really, cause if we can do what we need to do to take care of her, she is really working to take care of us, and it can just be a beautiful thing, but we just have to make sure that those kinds of things are really honored.
What about lunch? Are we gonna still be able to have lunch?
As long as we can, right now, we have to be out by 1 o'clock, but as long as we can be out by 1 o'clock, we can pretty much do, yeah, the only other thing she said, this was kinda cute, she goes, I can see you guys are excited, I need to make sure you understand that this is for Sundays, and don't be thinking you can come in here and have somebody's birthday party. She would charge something else for that, and she's truly gifting us to make this possible. So, we'll have to see what it would be when we wanna stay, we haven't asked her that yet, we wanna build a little relationship with her first.
As a numerologist, the number 3 or 300 is a lucky number. 3 is a good number. So 3 stands also for the Trinity. So as a numerologist or as Christian, 3 is a good number.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
think you now have our.
Okay, we have our affirmation. I'm gonna read it once because you don't have it in front of you. And then I'll read it again, we'll read it all together when I read it the second time, okay? Affirmation, March brings spring and multiple blessings to all of us. March brings spring and multiple blessings to all of us.
Yes.
Let's see, story time. That's right. This is now story time. Who has a story? Don't everybody jump up at once.
Well, I'll say something.
There we go.
All right.
Yay,
So,
Susan.
Steve's bucket list has always
Come
been,
up front.
Steve's bucket list of places to go has always been Egypt. So last Saturday, he said, look at this brochure, it's an unbelievable price. We are going to Egypt at the end of March.
Oh
And
my
it's 2 weeks and it's on the Nile River.
Oh,
16
wow.
days.
Oh, great.
So we're excited.
Yeah. And then we'll give us another story when you get back.
Yeah. And we might even wanna see your home videos of that.
Or at least post them to your Facebook page. Anyone else have a
Bring back
story?
spirits for everybody.
Okay.
I have stories to tell, but I can't tell them on the same day I'm reading, because I'm guaranteed to start to cry when I start to tell them. But today I'm doing the reading, and I decided when I was thinking about this, I want to match to the subject or the theme the service. And today's subject is transparency. So I started out talking to my practitioner friends and saying, what are you gonna say about transparency? What am I gonna find? And they said, well, I don't know, Bev, let's check the concordance. So we're in a rental place, and most of our life is in boxes, in either pods or a storage unit. So I didn't have the concordance, but I looked for one online. And according to the concordance, Ernest didn't say anything about the word transparent or transparency. And I thought, oh my, what's the fallback? Well, let's check the old dictionary and see what it says about transparency. It's that state or property of a body by which it suffers rays of light to pass through it, so that objects will be distinctly seen through it. This is a property of glass, water, and air, which, when clear, admits the free passage of light. Transparency is opposed to opaqueness. So I thought, you know what? When I first started reading Science of Mind, I thought it was the most convoluted text I ever had the opportunity to read. And some of you have stated the same thing. Over time, I grew to love it. But Ernest was transparent many times. Take, for example, when he said, change your thinking, change your life. So I started from that, what I thought was a transparent statement of Ernest, and I looked at the upcoming opportunity you're going to get to have if you take Tammy's class. And you don't want to miss it. You're right, it's a really good class. And I found a place that Ernest talked about transparency, even in the front of the book where I'm now reading. Because he's talking about those accumulated doubts and feelings and fears you can have as you move into a spiritual path and search. And he says, but the mind is filled with accumulated doubts of the ages, as though a wide abyss of doubt, fear, and uncertainty were standing between you and your desires. This is where Science of Mind can aid you. It can unite your intellect with your aspiration and your inspiration. God created you in his own nature. If he did that, well, there's really nothing else he could have made you out of. Then the thing you are after is already here within you. The only thing that stands between you and it are the accumulated thoughts, beliefs, and emotions of the ages. But there is nothing that has not been put there, either by yourself or what he calls race. That doesn't mean the same thing today as it means to us when we say race. It means that accumulated of a cultural beliefs that happen to you as you grow up and work within your family and your community. What has been put there can be removed. These unbeliefs are thought patterns laid down throughout the ages and accentuated by your own experience, by your own inherited tendencies and environment. It's no use wasting time speculating as to what avenue they came through. Your job is to reject them. Your intellect has now accepted that you can do that. Well, aren't you like the person who started out on a journey to a beautiful city that he knows existed? Well, what if he has to climb a few mountains, make a certain number of detours, and cross a desert or ford a stream? Everything that is worth attempting is worth striving for. If the goal you are after, it is the goal you are after. You have a vision and you're going to follow it. One by one, without frenzy or impatience, you're going to remove those mental blocks that stand between you and your destiny. What thought has done, thought can undo. The mental patterns laid down in your subconscious throughout the ages can consciously be removed. And that's talking about transparency. Hope I came somewhere in the vicinity. Thank you.
Sometimes we're so moved, we don't wanna clap because we don't wanna break the spell, and yet we want Lon to know how much we appreciate it. So, it becomes a mix of the two. Alright, she got transparency right where she needed to, Bev did. And I thought it was really interesting when she talked about that she came to the same kinds of things. It's the things that block us, the shadows, all those things that we're gonna look at today. Now, transparency, when I was looking it up, was talking about openness, communication, and accountability. And so we're going to talk about those three things. And I'll tell you more of my story and why I chose this subject later on. But first I wanted to start with an article by Margaret Stewart's out of the Science of Mind magazine. If you've never taken the Science of Mind magazine and would like a free subscription, let us know and we'll get you one. So this is from 2015, but the articles don't ever go out of date. You can pick up Ernest Holmes from 1940 and you're still going to find really good truth and really good support. So she talks about power lies in self-recognition. The power that appears to bind us is the only power that can free us. And she's talking about seeing ourselves for who we truly are and not what we think we might have been, or the habits that we formed, or the shadows that we have, or any of that. And so one of her quotes that I just love, she says, "The very announcement that we have resident power within us should be exciting enough to keep us up at nights." When you've had a night where you couldn't go to sleep, was it because you were thinking, I'm so powerful, what am I going to do with this power? Oh, I could create anything. Well, she said that's where we should be. Because, as Emerson told us, what lies before us and what lies behind us is nothing compared to what lies within us. We are one and with the Spirit. And so we have the same opportunities that we know are infinite in the universe, but we get to choose which ones we call forth. We get to choose what it is that we're going to focus on, what we're going to think about, what we're going to feel, and move on from there. And so she talks about this, about seeing self-recognition is seeing the spirit that you are, not the things that are said about us or that we have had habits about. She talks about the devil. How many of you came from a tradition that taught that the devil was out to get you? Okay? He had horns, and he was really mean, and he was out to get you. He was working really hard to get you. And God was sitting back seeing if you were going to be strong enough not to get God. Well, that's not what we believe now. We certainly do not think that God is waiting for us to be tricked by the devil. And we don't think we have a devil after us. And yet, in our own lives, we have limiting beliefs. And those are our devils. Those are the things that keep us locked away from full expression of spirit. So you say, well, what is that? I don't know what that means. Say you want to start a business, or you want to start a relationship, or you want to start something else. But there is a part of you that doubts your ability to do it. There's a part of you that says, oh, I can't start a business. Do you know what's involved in a business? I mean, I have this great idea. And then a few years later, somebody comes out with what your idea was, and they just made a fortune. But you held back because, oh, I couldn't, I couldn't do that. That's one of your devils. You have an idea that you want to be a public speaker. But all your life, people have been telling you that you don't do well in front of crowds. And they've been telling you that it's really a hard thing to do. And to be a speaker, whether you start a business doing that, it's really hard to make money. And you can take that and let that be your devil. Or you can say, what am I really thinking here? Am I using this as an excuse? So transparency begins with yourself. So why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you making the decisions that you're making? Not just going along with the flow, not just, well, it's always been this way, but stop to ask yourself, why have I decided to, not do this, or to do that, or, become a certified couch potato. I've worked on that a little while, but, you know, why am I choosing that? And one of the things that for me that I've really thought a lot about in the last several weeks is that why am I allowing my body to do the things that it's doing? Why am I doing that? Why am I allowing it to limit me in so many ways? And I don't have the full answer to it, but I think part of it was and is running away. You know, if you're asleep, you don't have responsibility for anything. You just sleep. And so that really struck me. And so I really asked myself, well, what am I running away from? What am I hiding from? And I don't have clear answers about all of that, but I do have some. And I have the new understanding of who I am and what I am. Does that make sense? Okay? So, to know what your devils are and to look at them and say, all right, if you find an area in your life that's not working, ask yourself, what are the underlying beliefs that I am expressing that allows this to be? You know, one of my things was guilt. I'm a minister. I don't get sick. You know, I just don't, it's not a bad example. I just don't do that. Well, truth is we all get sick sometimes, or we don't. But I had that guilt, and I also suffered from a bad case of the twos. I call it the twos. Remember the terrible twos? You had raised children who had, they came into the terrible twos. No, I do it my way. I don't need your help. I don't need anybody's help. I do it. Well, I have a terrible case of that, and so I'm going to take care of everything. And so as the minister of LCSL, if somebody else didn't volunteer to do it, I'd say, okay, I'll do it. You know, and that sort of thing. And I stopped doing that. Somebody says, well, I can help you with it. Fine, go for it. You know, I have stopped thinking that I have to be the end all to everything, to every question, to every concern, that I have to have an answer to it. And so that's been very freeing. I have a couple of goals in my life. One of them around LCSL is to have an assistant minister. And to have an assistant minister for a lot of reasons. One, because it enriches our community, because you have this different focus. Two, it might be somebody that would be training to take over whenever I desire to retire, or semi-retire, whatever. And three, to do all the things I want to do. Okay? So as I was on my sabbatical and enjoying not having any responsibility, and the board said, oh, we found us a new place. I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't see it. They didn't ask me if we should spend the money. They didn't ask me any of that. They just said, we can have a new place and you show up. Are you going to come on March 3rd? Yeah, I'll be here on March 3rd. You know, and I was like, at first I was like, they didn't even ask me. And then I thought, wait a minute. This is what you've been saying you want. This is exactly what you've been saying you want. You attached it to assistant minister. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be the powerful people that we have taking on more responsibility, because this is their center. It really taught me that this is your center, not my center. It's your center. And it will grow and advance and be all that it can be because you care. You care for yourself, you care for everybody else who will come, that they get the opportunity to do this. And my job is, as I said earlier, to work on my spiritual journey, to make my spiritual practices more and more effective, to spend time in spirit, and then to bring what I feel and I know out and give it to you. So, that was just a revelation to me. And I have another dream that may be coming true too, but I can't tell you that one. Because if I tell you that one, I might nix it. And I probably ought to look at why that is a belief. But even Ernest said somewhere that when you have something perking in you, be careful who you share it with, and be careful that you're really getting into it and firm into it before you start letting other people pick at you. You know, because when you open up and tell other people, then they're going to tell you why you can't do this or why you can't do that. or why nobody ever does that, or, you have to put up with this and you have to put up with that. Yeah, so you don't share those kinds of things too soon. You're careful of who you share them with. So I'm not sharing that dream with you right now, but maybe I will when it starts to be fully fleshed out. So the thing about it is looking at this as how do I look at my shadows, my limitations, and if you're doing something automatically, why are you doing it automatically? Is it because you think you should? Is it your mother's voice in the back of your head? Can you look at that now and say, Mom, no more. That was your idea of what a young lady should be. That's not my idea of what my life used to look like. And so you look at those things and ask yourself, what is it? Is this a valid belief? Is this a valid concern? Or am I just going along with old habits that I've had all along? So I want to read her quote again because I have trouble sleeping sometimes, and it is hard when you don't sleep through the night. It can be really difficult. I try not to let it be. I try to just say, okay, I'm awake, but I'm still in bed, that kind of thing. Or I get up and I go do something. But I love this. The very announcement that we have resident power within us should be exciting enough to keep us up at nights. I just think, if you spend a lot of time, or even a little time, thinking about how powerful you are, how anything is within your reach if you have that desire and you want to go for it. And it may look different. I didn't get an assistant minister, but I got the answer. I got the next step to it, that liberty, that freedom that I had been looking for. And I got a very strong foundation. It's not my center. It's yours. I know that. I've said that. I believe that. But the people who worked on all this stuff, they just proved it because they kept it going. They found our space. They knew what needed to be done while they let me do my healing, to work through my healing. Now, I don't know, I had thought I'd tell more of my story, but I know that some of y'all have read the update. But I'd be glad to tell you where I am physically if you want to know. People want to know? Okay. Yeah. All right. I was diagnosed with fatty liver disease several years back. I didn't have any symptoms before I was diagnosed, and I didn't have any symptoms after I was diagnosed. But I had a doctor who was very concerned, and he would tell me, you gotta do this. And he would say, you gotta treat your liver like a little baby, because we have to keep it working, and you have to, but he never told me how to do that. He never really explained to me how to do that. I now have a book, Healing Your Body of Fatty Liver Disease. Yeah, I really do. And it really is an epidemic. He told me it was an epidemic in America, but I didn't. But it truly is an epidemic. And I think, from what he said and what I know, is that we have, most of us, really enjoyed our fried foods. Okay? I was raised in the South. Fried steak was one of our favorite things to have. And we did fried chickens and steaks and whatever. Just throw it in there. My father used to take hamburger patties and put flour and stuff on them and then fry them. So that's not as bad as the uncle who used to take bacon and flour it and fry it. So we come from a lot of really high fat kinds of things. And I thought, I've heard people say, well, your liver needs fat. No, not really. It will have the natural ability to make its own fat that it needs. And it does need some fats, but it doesn't need much. And it certainly doesn't need the kind of fats I was putting into it. So then I had this diagnosis. Well, I went along doing my thing. And last year, I started having a lot of problems. I had tremors. And I know that some of y'all noticed that. I wasn't sure on my feet, and I know that some of you noticed that. And my mind didn't work the same. My mind moved towards repression instead of optimism, which is who I am. And my thought processes weren't as clear. And so, they tried a different medication in December, and, that one just about did me in. And that one, it made me so sleepy. There were days when I slept 18 hours a day. 18 hours a day. And then maybe I'd do 16, but I was sleeping way more than anybody needs to sleep. And so we got off that medication, and I got a little bit better. Went back to the doctor, and he started talking to me seriously about ammonia in the body. Have you ever thought about how much ammonia you have in your body? Ammonia is so bad, and when your liver's not working at full function, it builds up. And you've got to get it out of your body. If you look up ammonia on Google, and it tells you the side effects of it, tremors, unsure on your feet, depression, thought processes don't work the same the way they work, and on and on and on. And so he really got to talking about that, and he added a different prescription, but it's not, it's a moving things through the system kind of a thing, because that's what you want to do. You want to keep cleansing out your system so that it doesn't have to build up. Well, I noticed an immediate difference. And now if I get inconsistent in taking my prescription, then yes, I can do that. And I feel a tremor, I know what it is. You know, I wouldn't even tell him about the tremors because I was afraid he was going to give me some other diagnosis I didn't want to. You know, they give you a diagnosis and then you got to deal with it. And I felt guilty about that. I should have been better at my prayer. So all that happened, and now I feel better. I have more energy. I'm more excited about life. I'm back to expecting the best for me and for you and for our center. All of those things. And does it feel good? Holy moly, yes. It really, really feels good. And I have ways to go, but that's fine. I just say that I need to get stronger physically. But I've been walking almost every day, and so I am getting much, much better. What else you want to know? Thank you. So is there, at this point, are there any questions? Does anybody need any clarification? But that whole process really got me looking at transparency. And when I told the practitioners to start praying for me, and I gave them my specific diagnosis, it was like, now of course Bob and Tracy knew what was going on, but I had not told anybody else, because it's my stuff. It's my stuff. It's my stuff, okay? I told the practitioners, and I went, in my body, that somebody else knew what was going on. And then when I made the announcement to the whole church through the update that we do every week, there again, it felt like, you're not in this alone. You're not doing this by yourself. You have people who care, who want to help you. And I said I didn't want people talking about me. You know, I didn't want people talking. And then I think Vicki said to me, but they're already talking. They're making up stories like crazy. Do you want to make give them the truth, or you want to keep on making up stories? And it just felt so good to be transparent to you. And I really see the value of that. All of us have these little things in the back of our heads, that we've never told another person, or maybe one or two other people. If we'll take them out and bring them out and look at them ourselves and let other people see them too, they take on a whole different life. Sometimes they just wisp away. They're just gone. And other times, if you've got people with you and you see it differently and you know what to do about it. And so this has been a huge demonstration to me to give up that's my stuff. I won't tell you everything about myself. I'm a minister, I'm perfect. This has been a great opportunity to give all that up. And to really become transparent more to myself and transparent more to you. And so I do invite your questions. I have a diet advocate who has been on the low-fat diet for a long time. And so she's sending me recipes, she's sending me food, she's sending me all this kind of stuff. And so I think that's really, really cool. Bob was like, I'm now your medical consultant, is that the word? Medical, what? Advocate. Bev said I needed a medical advocate, so we talked about what that was, and I said, Bob, you're my medical advocate. He went, oh, okay. Meaning that he goes to the doctor with me and asks the questions I forget to ask. He remembers the stuff that I forget. You know, so all of those things are good and positive things. And ask me if you want to know anything else. Okay? Okay. All right. Now, we're going to move into meditation. Let me make sure there wasn't anything else I forget or we didn't get yet. All right. Remind me to talk about gifts sometime. What time is it? Yeah, I'll talk about that another Sunday. Okay. So, we're going to start out, Lo is going to play behind us. And I'm going to do a centering prayer to bring us all down and to do that. And then Tammy and I will be going around and giving a oneness blessing to anyone who wants one. Now, if you don't want one, cross your arms and we'll walk right by you. But if you want one, then leave your hands open and in a receiving mode, and we'll give you a oneness blessing as you come around. Everybody's good with that? Okay. All right. So, the first thing, we know that we are perfect, that we are receptive and open to all that Spirit has to share with us. And so we reflect that in our bodies. We relax our feet, relax our hands, and let our heads be very centered on our spines, very relaxed. If there's tension somewhere, move it and let it go. And we breathe. We feel the warmth and the presence of Spirit pouring over us, covering us with this wonderful feeling of being protected and cared for. Almost like being in a bubble, except it's softer and it's sweeter. And we breathe. And we think about, what is it that we want to be even more open to than we have ever been before? What is it that we want to be aware is ours this morning? And so take a few moments to think about the oneness blessing. As we stand behind you and we put our hands on your shoulders and on your head, we are just being a representation of Spirit, filling you, loving you, and giving you whatever it is you're ready to receive. So picture in your mind that moment and ask yourself, what am I ready to receive? And we breathe. If there's a little thing in the back of your mind that says, oh, that's too much, I can't ask that. Oh, that's not going to happen. Tell it to be quiet. That you know that it wants to protect you, that little voice. But right now, be quiet. And be fully present in the presence. And we breathe. going to start with the oneness blessings.